Hello students, today we are going to study the beat and frame synchronization techniques in the digital modulation. Introduction. Transfer binary information over a physical medium in order to establish the communication between two computer systems. There are several problems to be solved. Among the most basic tasks are choosing the best available transmission media, agreeing an ambitious encoding scheme, and verifying the integrity of the received data. So, if the communication established between the two computers, what kind of the encoding scheme should be used? What kind of the physical media or transmission media should be used? Whether these media provides the greater security and integrity of the received data. So these are the some problems where the transfer of the data from the one medium or sender to the receiver. So beat and frame synchronization techniques are among the most basic problems to be handled at the physical layer. Binary data transfer. Today's computer system work on a binary data. For for establishing a connection between two or more computer systems, binary data transfer is needed. So two or more computer systems can communicate with each other or transfer or share their data in the binary form. To transfer the data bits between the two computers, they must be converted into the physical signals. So for that purpose, the modulation technique used, where the modulation technique digital data is converted into the analog form or analog waveform. So the physical signals is needed. We already discussed the ASK system. So ASK converts the digital signal into the binary waveforms or ASK signal. So physical signals get available so that that physical signals can travel through the physical media or cable added to the receiver. These signals may be the signals on the electrical conductor, optical signals, or signals in the form of the magnetic waves. All those physical signals are vulnerable to the errors due to the attenuation and the distortion of the transmitted signal, with the effect that the received signal does not have to match the transmitted signal. So as the signals is passes from the media, different media, maybe the magnetic medium, maybe the electrical conductor or optical signals, it's attenuated due to the distortion or the noise at the channel. So at the receiver, the receiver signal or received signal does not match with the transmitted signals. So this is the problem. The transmitted signal is the function of the time. That means the strength and quality of the signal changes over time. This behavior is also known as a serial data transfer because the physical representation of the one bit is transferred after the another. So in the serial communication or the serial data transfer, the one bit is transferred from the other bit, or previous bit is transferred. After that the next bit will be ready for the transfer or transmission. In order to convert the received signal electrical into the logical unit of the information that can be dealt with, it is necessary to provide the sampling signal that will be true for the certain time span, and it is and a defined time interval. This figure shows the limitation of the every transmission medium. The signal is attenuated, causing the loss of the information. A time shift is added due to the limited transmission speed, and the possible noise in the transmission line can cause the additional errors. The misinterruption of the signal is called as a bit error. So this is the original signal transmitted data. This is the attenuation where the signal amplitude gets attenuated. This is the limited bandwidth. So this is the delay distortion as their phase changes are not synchronized with the transmitted signal. This is line noising. This is combined effect of the received signal, and this is the sampling signal or received data where the bit is there is a change. If the original bit is 0 but the received bit is 1 due to the attenuation, due to the noise, due to the delay, and the combined effect. So this kind of the effect, if there is a no synchronization or frame synchronization is there. What will be the transfer? The sender of the digital data will encode the information in a certain way. This means it creates the code word consisting the mostly of 8 code characters. Each code character is either 1 or 0. The code words may be arranged in the message block, which are also known as a frame. So if the code word is arranged in the message block, that block is called as a frame. As data transmission media contain in most cases only one connection line, but almost all network devices operates in parallel mode. They do not operate on the single bits but on a bytes or word. The conversion between the parallel and serial mode is necessary, and this is usually done through the shift register with parallel load, and which is also called as the SIPO, that is serial input parallel output, or PISO, that is a parallel input and serial output. Nonetheless, they will work in the both direction. What is the need of the synchronization? There are several points which makes it clear why synchronization is necessary or essential for the serial transfer of the data or digital data. The first problem is that sender and receiver clocks may not run synchronous, so that the sampling instant will shift from the beginning of the signal to the end and may overflow. So that's why the synchronization is necessary. This is especially likely when there is a no limit where the data entity may it be a bit or byte or complete packet starts and ends, and when a long line of similar signals are transferred. For example, row of logical one would which would be encoded at the as a constant voltage of a certain value. So that's why the synchronization is necessary. For example, clocks running out of the synchronization. Imagine a communication system with two data terminal equipment DTEs that have a major difference in the speed of their system clock. If the system clock is having the different speed, they work irregular. That is, the receiver clock timing is to 12.5 ahead of the time than the sender one. Okay, if the sender transmits the 8-bit word, the receiver will interrupt it as a 9-bit word. Suppose this is the transmitted data, that is 1034 times 01, and if the sender speed is ahead of the receiver speed, so receiver will get the extra bits. As the sender sends the 8-bit, the receiver receives the 9-bit word. So this is the problem when the clock's running out of the synchronization. If the clock is synchronized, as sender sends the data, receiver receives that data properly in time. But as you have seen in the graphic above, the receiver will not only sample much bits, it will also sample the wrong bits. The conclusion should be that there can be an no ambiguous interpretation of the common signal. If there is not a certain degree of synchronization of the clocks. Another well-known problem of the time dispersion is called as inter-symbol interference. So we already discussed the inter-symbol interference in my previous videos. The signals belonging to the different symbols can be offset on the medium at the same time, leading to the interpretation errors at the receiver end. The synchronization technique will guide the receiving system in determining where data entities start and end. So this synchronization helps the receiver where the data starts and end, at which time interval the sampling results is least error prone. Bit and frame synchronization as a very basic mechanism of error control, which will reduce the need for the error control at higher levels. What is the needed to decode the received signal? The receiver will have to determine where the signal cell or representing a bit starts and ends in order to sample the signal as near at middle of the signal as possible. It will have to know where the character or byte starts and ends for a packet based transmission where each message block starts and ends. So that's why the received signal should be decoded. So receiver will get to know where the bit starts or end, or if it is packet then actual message bits where starts and ends. And the finding out where the signal starts and ends is known as a bit or clock synchronization. So for this purpose, the synchronization is required. Determining the character boundaries is known as a character or byte synchronization, and the last task is called as a block or frame synchronization. So if it is a bit or byte transmission, so the clock synchronization is necessary, and the packets is transmitted in the system, so the frame synchronization is necessary, and the synchronizations uh, enables the receiver and detects the where the packet starts or ends, or where the byte starts or end. So for that purpose, the received it is necessary to decode the received signal. Modes of the transfer, that is asynchronous and synchronous data transmission. There is a one common way to differentiate the data transmission modes concerning the synchronization techniques utilized. The criteria of distinguish is there whether the transmitter clocks are independent or synchronized. So this is the synchronization. Asynchronous communication, when there is a no synchronization of the transmitter and receiver clocks, it is called as a asynchronous transmission. And this mode is used when each element of the transmission should be treated independently. So in asynchronous transmission, there is a no transmitter and receiver clock is synchronized or in time, and the in this mode, the all bytes or characters should be treated as independently. But in case of the synchronous transmission, there is a clock synchronization between the transmitter and receiver. The synchronous communication, on the other hand, if a complete block of transferred character is considered one entity of the communication, we will speak the synchronous transmission. For the asynchronous transmission, the receiver will have to find out where each byte or character starts or where it ends. This does not imply the need for this clock synchronization. So in this case, the clock synchronization is not required. But if receiver wants to detect the where the byte starts or end or frame starts or end, in that case the clock synchronization is necessary. In synchronous transmission mode, the clocks of the sender and receiver have to run in sync for the time of the transfer of one block. So if the block is passes from the sender and receiver, that clock should be the synchronized one. For next block, new synchronization will be possible. Asynchronous data transmission. Asynchronous data transmission is used where character or byte based data has to be transferred in irregular intervals, or if it is irregular interval transmission is possible, there we can use the asynchronous data transmission. For example, for this are the signals from the computer keyboards. The user types at irregular interval and keyboard encodes each hit into the sequence of bit of a defined length. So that is nothing but the asynchronous transmission. This character is transferred to main unit where the pulse of incoming signal is interpreted as a sequence of bytes, which are afterwards interpreted as a certain typed key code or key combination. But what is the problem in this? In the problem in this system, how does the receiver of the signal know when byte starts and when it ends? And this can be done by a certain bit pattern indicating the start and end byte character or extra bit is added. Application of the asynchronous data transmission. The most popular synchronous transmission data transmission is UART, that is the universal asynchronous receiver and transmitter. The most common application is it is an computer component that is used in the serial communication subsystem. For example, in serial ports or internal modems. So this is the one of the application of the asynchronous data transmission. Universal asynchronous transmitter will send the byte in serialized way by sending bit by bit to the receiver. At the receiver side, asynchronous universal asynchronous receiver will receive the single bits and return the full bytes. Next, return to zero signaling. So the most obvious variant of the bit signaling is called as a return to zero signaling or pulse signaling. As I said before, some media on the physical layer do not only support high and low values but also positive and negative values. A signal may be represented by the positive high, negative high, or low value of the voltage, amplitude, or phase shift. Return to zero signaling is essentially means that the logic 1 is represented by the positive high pulse and the logic 0 is represented by the negative high pulse. So where there is a positive amplitude as well as negative amplitude is also there. So that's why this signaling is called as a return to zero signaling. After the transmission, low or no signal is sent. In other words, the signal returns to zero. Return to zero signal with the different modulations. Let there be the byte with the bit sequence 10110001. For frequency modulation, this means that there will be the frequency of 50 Hz for high value or logic 1 or logical 2 and the frequency 250 Hz for the low value or 0. So if this is the input bit pattern, so if there is a 1, the frequency will be available. If it is FSK modulation, frequency will be available 500 Hz, and if it is logic 0, the frequency will be available 250 Hz. Again high 1 so 500 Hz is frequency. Again low 250 Hz. Again high, so 500 Hz. In this way. For the amplitude shift keying, there will be the high voltage for 3 volt for a true and no voltage for the false or 0. So if ASK modulation is applied, so there is a high voltage of 3 volt for the logic 1 and no voltage or no amplitude for the logic 0. As return to zero signaling relies on the availability of the three signal states, it may not be available for every medium and keying scheme. Non-return to zero means it does not return to the zero or no negative values. Non-return to zero code means that the signal will not be zero when the data transmission is completed. And this requirement is dealt with by defining the following simple encoding scheme. A logical 1 is encoded as a low value and logical 0 is encoded as a high value. That is non-return to zero encoding for the amplitude ASK. So it is this signal does not return to the zero scheme. So in non-return to zero signaling, the signal will not return in line ideal. So it will not return at the line ideal even when only 0 bits are transmitted. A long series of logical ones will result in the long time span without any transmission of the amplitude or frequency. For example, the above shows the main problem that the return to zero and non-return to zero encoding shares. For certain protocol where a long sequence of zeros and ones are transmitted, and this is the problem, there will be long sequence without any change in the signal. As a receiver's clock has no way to the synchronization, there will be run out of the sync and the sampling of the incoming signal will lead to the wrong results because receiver will fail to identify the bit boundaries. So in this kind of the case where non-return to zero and return to zero case, there is if the incoming signals having the long strings of ones and zeros, so the receiver will not identify whether the what are the boundaries of the word or incoming signal. So for that purpose, the synchronization is necessary. Non-return to zero encoding and its derivatives should be used only when it can be guaranteed that the higher level protocol will not result in the long sequence of the identical bits. And this behavior can be guaranteed for the synchronous transmission with start and stop bits. So in this kind of the case, the packets can be combined with the start and stop bits, or the padded with the start and stop bits, so that the receiver will identify the boundaries of the incoming signal. So as receiver removes the start and stop bit, the remaining will be the data. So for that purpose, but not for the synchronous transmission. So it is required for the asynchronous transmission. Character or byte synchronization. The basic principle of the byte or character synchronization is very simple. The receiver waits for the transmission of start bit. After that bit has been received, it will wait for the specified number of the bits, 7 or 8 bit in the most cases. Every signal received bit will be stored in the shift register until the specified number of bits has been received. And in next logical step, the receiving unit will receive the given signal to the microprocessor that the register is filled. So if register is filled, the complete data is available at the receiver, and the receiver will wait for the next bit. The microprocessor will read the shift register in parallel mode and start the computation. Empty shift register can be filled with the data from the next character as soon as the next new start bit is detected. As the new start bit is detected, there again the microprocessor will fill the next character or information. The register is used in this process is called as a serial in parallel out (SIPO). It opposites is a parallel in serial out may be used by the sender. This basic mode of byte synchronization is only useful in both sender and receiver, known how long character or byte is. If this is not case, you will need the start and stop bits in order to indicate the beginning and ending of the each character. Start and stop bit. To solve the problem of finding the byte beginning and ending concept, the start and stop bits may be used. Start bit indicating the beginning of the byte or a character, and there will be only one start bit for each byte or each word. And the stop bit indicates the end of the byte. There may be the more than one stop bits for the each character. So it is clear that the stop bits must have the opposite value of the start bits, as it will be impossible to identify the start bits after the sequence of the stop bits if the start bits has the same value as the stop bits. If in a byte transmission, if the value of the start bit and stop bit is same, so the receiver will not understand the when next byte will start. So the value of start bit and stop bit should be the different. There is a one start bit, but there is one or more stop bits are there. But the value of start and stop bit should be differentiated by the receiver. For the NRZ, that is non-return to zero encoding, where the line is ideal is encoded with 1. The start bits has the value 0 and the stop bits thus have the value 1, so that the receiver will differentiate the start and stop bit. This variant of the encoding adds to leads 25% overhead to the every byte transmitted. So the overhead or the data will get added, or 25% overhead is increased in the system, but that does not matter because asynchronous transmission is used mostly in for a peripheral devices such as the keyboards or devices connected to the serial port of the computer, so where the asynchronous data transmission is used. The schemes for the starts and stop bits uses. So this is the start bits, this is the bit LSB, this is the bit MSB or most significant bit, and this is the stop bits after this. So all these bits or byte characters may be the 7 or 8 byte. This is the receiver detects the start bit of a new character. These are the each bit is sampled approximately in the center of each bit cell period, and these are the stop bits. So this is the schemes for the start and stop bit uses. The figure shows the complex start and stop bit example. If no idea is sent or no data is sent, the positive signal is received. As soon as the signal value drops, the start bit is detected and recording the next bit starts. Every bit is evaluated at the middle of each signal time, whose the length can be approximately by measuring the length of the first start bit. After successful transmission of the 7 or 8 bits of a sequence of a stop bits will be received by the receiver. If this sequence is detected, the recorded byte is complete and SIPO, that is serial in parallel out register, can shift the combined values and start the processing of the received character or byte. The different values of start and stop bits introduce at least one transmission in the bit stream, which is important so to avoid the problems that resultant of non return to zero encoding combined with the long sequence of the bits of the same value that have been mentioned before. So the scheme should not use the same value for the start and stop bit. What is the conclusion? The conclusion is like this: asynchronous data transmission with the start and stop bits is very simple way to transmit the data, because the clock synchronization is not necessary, because the synchronous data is self-synchronizing, and if there is no data to transmit, the transmission line can be ideal. But the limitation of the asynchronous communication is that errors cannot be detected when the stop bit is if it is missed. Because of this fact, the asynchronous transmission scheme can be found mostly in the single computer or between the computers and its peripheral, the modem or in indirect terminal connection. Thank you. If you have any question, you can post that question to me or you can mail the question to me. Thank you.